something we would model after those that are already there. So what is our proposal? Our planning history dates back to 2006. As a matter of fact, you remember David Del Toro. He was really kind of the first person that I put on this to explore the possibility. So it dates back to him, and he gets a lot of credit for really some of the early work in this. And then Sarah Croft has picked up after that. It was approved by TEA. That is our first grant in 06. It's already been stated. We requested extension of the planning year to 2008 just because we had a change in who we handed that plan off to, and we just weren't ready to implement that this school year. So we asked that this school year would also be a planning year. You approved the initial grant on October of 07. We had a planning meeting just to see if SAC might be interested in January of 08 in partnering with us. Originally, our original plan was to go with UTSA like some of the surrounding districts are doing, but we found it a lot easier to coordinate and collaborate with the community college. And by the way, that's what most of the early college high schools are doing across the state. They are collaborating with community colleges. So it's a lot easier, a lot less hurdles to jump over. Now, there's some confusion about the site, the partnership considerations. Originally, early in 06, 07, as I stated, we considered Navarro's campus and partnering with UTSA. There was some discussions there for a couple of months about the possibility. That didn't really pan out because it was just too problematic. UTSA right now has an early college high school model where the students from 3 surrounding districts are coming to their district, but I think they're really kind of have a lot of challenges with that model, and I certainly don't want to speak for them and the surrounding districts, but the ideal situation would be to have it on one of our campuses. Our next idea, as you remember, we came to you for Edison High School. We contacted TEA about the possibility of putting it on a high school rather than near or on a college campus. They stated we could do that, but we would not get the implementation grant money if we did that, and so we were back to the drawing board on that. The Travis campus has just recently been considered, and we've looked at that in February, March as a possibility again for the use of that facility. The 2-year funding would be approved in March of 08 if we show TEA that there is a possibility or there's some commitment from the district. Now, and I'm sorry, this slide got a little out of line here, but so basically the planning grant, I believe that's supposed to be $120,000. Is that right, Sarah?
The original was 120,
okay.
And that funding period lapsed, and the 80th legislature came up with more money because they knew they needed to support the schools with more funding. So the planning grant has increased by 5,000 to 125, and dependent upon how that plan looks to TEA, they would it would make us eligible for an additional 150,000 instead of 60. And an additional 150,000 in implementation year 2 instead of 120, which was the original deal back in 06. That funding cycle expired. They realized they needed more support to the schools to implement the early college high school model, and so that we kind of got lucky a little bit by delaying. We become eligible for more money.
Okay. When she talked you through that slide, it's a total of about $425,000 in seed money over a 3-year period. Now, the question becomes, and Mr. Lopez, you asked this, of these self-sustaining programs, and what we've done here is just there's much more detail to this, but I just couldn't put it all on one slide. But basically, we have the planning year here. As you'll see, this is the early college high school grant. These are our revenue streams. Early college high school grant, high school allotment, our district ADA, Title I, and then CAPE monies. So in our planning year, that's this school year, as you see, we've really not spent any of that money. So we have a positive balance there of $30,000. So in year 1, you start to use the $150,000. High school allotment 34, 510. I won't read all these two, but there's Title I. But what's key here is that we start kicking in. This here is where you start seeing, as the population grows on that campus, it starts to become more self-sustaining per design. Now, the reason that these type of programs are much, cheaper to run rather than a traditional high school is you don't have the overhead cost, the tremendous overhead cost of the extra UIL activities. And some activities, and PE, those type of things for our students, depending on what we work out with that. But here are Title I funds, high school allotment funds, And then our grant runs out in year 2, but per design, it's supposed to pick up or leave off where our student population gets to the point where it's self-sustaining. The bottom line, literally, is that we project a positive balance throughout, and this is excluding, according to this model here, this is excluding any possibility of SAC picking up some of the costs and leasing some of the facility there at Travis for their own use and picking up some of the costs of the utilities. This is our proposed timeline. Tonight we're asking for your direction. March 24th through April 23rd, we would want to go out and conduct meetings with SAC, with the community, and maybe collect letters of commitment from some of our 8th graders and parents out there that might be interested in their students being involved in a program like this. And then at the April 28th board meeting, come back with administration recommending an approval of the MOU, again, depending on the outcome of those meetings. Continued, of course, April through July, we would hire the staff, facilities adjustments that are minor that we would need to make to that facility to accommodate high school students, conduct parent meetings and orientation meetings, and finalize plans for opening, and then August of 2008, open the doors. So our request really is, again, 3, is that we finalize an MOU agreement for April. This would be, that would be an action item, of course. Negotiate shared costs with and possible partial space lease agreement with SAC. Continue to finalize plans, including curriculum alignment with SAC. These are our discussions with SAC. These are the 3 things that we want to discuss with them as possibilities at this point, if they are interested. And then, of course, communicate with constituents, have parent and principals, meetings with principals and counselors, do a press conference, conduct community meetings, and visit middle schools with letters of interest. And then prepare a recommendation for the April board meeting. And with that, I'll just open up to questions that you might have.